or instrumental to the business, we can also appreciate and recognize that there are issues affecting the operation. And these issues varies depending on the nature or the kind of business you're in. So since warehouse and distribution centers operations are essential to the supply chain network, we want to look at the different factors affecting the operation. And so what we're saying that marketing and product-based stability is one issue that affects the operation. Anybody understand what market and product-based stability means to your operation in terms of affecting the day-to-day running of sale? Anybody want to tackle that one? Okay, so what we're saying that market and product-based stability, I'm reading from the screen now, long-term market potential for growth and for how product range may expand, and that will influence the decision on the size and the location of your warehouse facility. So what is this essentially saying? You have to look at the potential for your business growth. You have to look at your market trend. So you cannot be naive of the fact that your business will remain one place. No, you as intelligent leaders, you want to ensure that you are putting yourself or you're setting up yourself for success. What if the business grows incrementally over the next 5 years? How do I intend to respond to this expansion? How do I intend to respond to the demands of my customers? Would it be possible to remain as is? Is it a situation where I may need to outsource or lease or rent new facilities? You have to look at that. And so as leaders, these are things that you have to look at from a strategic perspective. The warehouse facility in terms of the type, the size, and the location is also a determining factor. The design capacity, how your infrastructure layout is also important to the supply chain network, and the role that your warehouse capacity and the location affects the supply chain. So I personally would have been in a situation where I would have been offered warehouse facility as consultant to look at and assist the company leaders with developing a warehouse design that is conducive to their operation. And can I tell you, the business remain adamant not to outsource and seek warehousing facilities. There are some business owners out there, amidst the fact that they recognize that the business is growing, multi-million-dollar business, they are making money, but they remain adamant to expand into other facilities because of their traditional complacency. So I am here to tell you today, as my professionals, that don't get caught up into this false accusation that, hey, you can expand, you can grow, having been in the same facility. Sometimes you have to leap if you want to maximize on your income stream. Understood? Any feedback? Any clarification? Okay, so warehouse, as we would have discussed, that warehousing. But before continuing, I want to ask you a question. I want to throw this one out there. Apart from what I would have mentioned in terms of issues affecting warehousing, is there anybody here who, in your own experience, recognize any issues affecting your operation? I'm asking a bold question. Anybody here is exposed to a situation, you don't need to say your company, you don't need to say where you're from. Just say, yes, this is the situation that we're faced with, and so how does it impact, or of situations, put it that way.
For my organization, at times when we do get 3 quotations, and you'll choose a supplier, but sometimes you give them, say, for instance, 2 weeks to deliver, but they don't have the goods. So recently we realized what is happening is that they would bid for the goods, and then after that, no, they go to source the goods to give us. So based on that, no, what we have done, we are doing some framework agreements where we're going to the supplier, the manufacturer, instead of the third-party person. So
very good.
Yeah, so starting maybe next 2 to 3 months time, we will now have in place a framework agreement where the goods will come from the manufacturer instead of going through the
3PL provider.
Right, very because good, they are not supplying, and then when the customer needs the goods, the persons in the warehouse are being blamed, and it's not our fault because we have done what we are supposed to do. So we are just waiting now, and that posed a huge problem. So we had to make some adjustments to ensure that we supply our customers.
Very good. And I agree with you, because whilst we can appreciate that we are still experiencing a global supply chain issue, and that we are also exposed to major congestions at the different ports, the ports of loading, and even at the port of loading and the port of discharge. Sometimes a lot of that constitute to why suppliers of our inventory items are not able to deliver. And so what you find, because of the lack of ability to consistently supply the demand, the high demand of the department, this, by virtue of that, we find what you call, what starts happening is that the prices of the items that are usually stabilized massively increase. Because what is happening, that providers are realizing that they have realized that there has become a scarcity, and by virtue of the scarcity,
the warehouse management or inventory.
Someone saying something? Right. And so because of the scarcity, suppliers or providers are taking advantage of consumers and customers by virtue of hiking up the price. And there's obviously nothing we can really do about it, because the market remains an open one. The only advantage that we have as consumers, customers, is that we can always seek, to compare, to seek other persons, to see how best we can get, price differences, price in terms of, seeking lower cost. But I can tell you what is happening now in the supply chain industry, because of the scarcity and that demand is increasingly high when compared to that of supply. You will have situation, and it will continue to be the same over the next 2 years, I can tell you, to be able to adequately provide, end users with products that they need, in order to supply their consumers and customers. Anybody else has any contribution in regards to any issues that they are exposed to or know of in terms of warehousing, issues associated with warehousing that can affect the supply chain? Nobody? Okay, let's move. All right. So we also recognize that in any warehouse operation, systems and procedures are important. And so warehouse management system has become an increasingly demanding tool for distribution centers and warehouses as it relates to assist them with the daily operations of inventory from the point of moving goods to the point of receiving and distribution. So what we're saying is that warehouse management system helps companies to manage the flow, the movement, the activities of the inventory throughout the warehouse operation. And so without a proper warehouse management system in place, then we can be sure to experience distortion in the process. Does anybody agree with that? Yes. If you do not have a warehouse management system or a software that helps the company, right, to manage and control its operation in terms of inventory, from the moment the goods get into the warehouse, put away to the point of distribution until they are dispatched, we can be assured to have or experience distortion in the operation. And so it is highly recommended. There are a lot of warehouse management systems out there, some of which are a little bit more expensive than others, but they all play a critical role in managing the entire operation from the moment they get into the warehouse to the point of distribution. So if you look at this diagram that I would have inserted here, this is a typical example of how the warehouse management software program basically manages the entire inner workings of the business. So we talk about receiving, we talk about classifying and placing goods according to their product location, the respective bin location, documentations and configuration. So the warehouse management system holds all of this under one umbrella: stock, relocation, and replenishment. We talk about goods picking and preparing, packing and dispatching. So the warehouse management system modules offer a comprehensive package that allows us as users to be able to manipulate it within the best interest of the organization. So common uses of warehouse management system. So the commonly used warehouse management system that most companies are usually exposed to are that of standalone system. Anybody can appreciate what a standalone system represents? And one of my students here can appreciate what the standalone system represent? Okay, what we're saying is that this warehouse management system provides several functions that enable the smooth running of the operation, which was said earlier on before, such as receiving, slotting, cycle counting, expiration date tracking, auditing, and shipping. Enterprise resource planning module is also a commonly used system within the warehouse management arena. And so the enterprise resource planning system or software tracks all of the company's resources to include human resources, sales, finance, accounting, customer service, and some aspects of ERP programs, which includes WMS software. So let me break that down for you because it's a little technical. So with the standalone system does not provide any linkage between other departments. Sorry. So it is a system that functions and it is independent of the warehouse. So it caters to just the warehouse side of any business. Whilst on the other hand, what we're saying is that the enterprise resource planning software or system is more comprehensive. It takes into consideration not just the warehousing side of any business, but customer service, sales, finance, and accounting. Got that? Clear?
Yes.
Great. So when it comes on to the ERP module or the ERP software, what you find is that larger companies are more inclined to invest in these kinds of software programs because they are very expensive, but they do add significant value. So gone are the days in terms of, let's talk about, let me quickly touch on human resource as a part of the ERP system, because person might be wondering, but all human resources comes into the picture. Yes, what we're saying is that the program offers that feature as a value-added module to the entire software itself. So gone are the days where, or it is still in existence, but for larger companies who are prepped and ready to invest in these software programs, you don't need to apply for your HR leave of absence or sick days via manually written up papers anymore. What we're saying is that ERP systems are enabling you to apply for your leave online, and approval comes by way of an email. But all of that back-end work is managed through the company human resource software, which is connected to, because the human resource system is a module of the enterprise resource planning software. So you don't need to write on any paper anymore. Everything is systematically driven. So your manager, your supervisor, whomever, your direct report can be away and approve your vacation. And so those are some of the value-added benefit that comes with the software program itself. Cloud-based is also a commonly used software warehouse management system. So traditionally, companies would invest heavily in IT expert, data analysts, system analysts, information technology managers, programmers. They would